Mini lesson number 9, 3/5 Compromise, 1787. Enslaved people were not viewed as full human beings. The issue of enslaved representation was argued during the 1787 United States Constitutional Convention. At this time, free black people were counted as full citizens for representation. Southern states were motivated to keep and protect slavery. Delegates debated whether and how enslaved people would be counted when determining a state's total population. This number determined how much a state would pay in taxes, the number of seats in the House of Representatives, and the number of electoral votes for presidential elections. The 3/5 compromise was reached among state delegates. The compromise counted 3/5 of each state's slave population, so 3 out of every 5 enslaved people. This gave Southern states more seats in the House of Representatives and more electoral votes than if enslaved people had been ignored, yet fewer seats than if enslaved and free people had been counted equally. Since enslaved people could not vote, leaders in slave states would have the added benefit of increased representation in the House of Representatives and the Electoral College. The 3/5 compromise also increased the federal tax burden of slaveholding states. This was the law for almost 100 years. Finally, in 1868, Section 2 of the Fourth Amendment repealed the 3/5 compromise. It stated that representatives shall be apportioned, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. In theory, this law granted citizenship to all black people, including those who were formerly enslaved in the United States. Citizenship included the right to vote for all males. Women were not legally able to vote at this time. However, individual states still denied black men the right to vote. It was not until the 15th Amendment was ratified in 1870 that all black men were granted the right to vote nationwide. Former slave states created a variety of strategies to disenfranchise black voters after the Reconstruction era came to an end in 1877, while also obtaining the benefit of increased representation based on the total population. These measures were effective in giving white Southerners even greater voting power than they previously had in the chattel slavery era. It inflated the number of Southern Democrats in the House of Representatives and the number of votes they could exercise in the Electoral College for presidential elections. It counted the total number of black Americans in the state's population, but denied them the right to vote. The strategies used to disenfranchise black voters after Reconstruction were the first of many attempts to suppress black votes, which can still be seen today, more than 140 years later. Consider polling tax as an example. In the late 1800s, Florida created a poll tax system requiring its citizens to pay cash in order to vote. Appearing to be race neutral, poll taxes disproportionately affected African Americans since many had extremely low incomes and could not afford to pay, and thus could not vote. This law was so successful that within 20 years, all former Confederate states had adopted poll taxes. Currently, in the modern-day era, Florida Republican officials are accused of repeating this tactic by requiring citizens with a prior felony conviction to pay all applicable court fines, fees, or restitution before their voting rights will be reinstated. This policy disproportionately targets African Americans. According to the United States Census Bureau, black Americans were roughly 17% of Florida's population in 2019, yet account for almost 48% of the prison and jail population per the Sentencing Project. In 2019, Kaiser Family Foundation report finds that black Floridians have a poverty rate of 19.8%, more than double that of the white Floridians at 9.2%. Which makes both the repayment of debt and the opportunity to vote more difficult.